Just start us off then.
Sure. Welcome everybody to the Crossover Podcast, episode 124. The MSI tournament has begun. We got a lot to discuss. First and foremost, Flyquest was able to take down PSG 2-1. Uh, and I, in promoting this video, put out a tweet saying that I genuinely believe the Flyquest can beat T1 on Friday whenever they
Oh
face up
dear.
against them. So, Kelby May comes into chat. And it's like, are you willing to bet on that? And I said, no, I don't have any money. So he gives 25 subs and then said, okay,
What?
we're betting. It's 10-1 odds. I'm betting on FlyQuest. He's betting on T1. If T1 wins, he gets $10 from me. If FlyQuest wins, I get 100 from him.
What? What?
To be clear, I was not going to place the bet on my own. That was not going to be of my own volition because I'm in the position right now that we're worried about paying bills and doing everything there. But when the gifted subs came in, I'm now placing the bet.
Were there 25 people to take them all?
I don't know. Did you get one?
No.
Well, that sucks. But yeah, so I
I
now
mean, I'm just
have.
gonna resub with my Prime sub.
Oh, I appreciate it. We now have a pretty significant bet on this series for FlyQuest to win it. A position
Yeah.
I did not see
Yeah.
myself getting into at the beginning of this, to be clear.
Yeah.
But before we get there, before we preview that series, what do you think about FlyQuest in their series today against PSG?
Uh, I mean, so I will say this: game one, even when they lost, I was kind of sitting there like, this doesn't matter. This is kind of a waste of time because they were winning stuff and team fighting well and up in gold. Like, even when PSG was playing at like basically their best and they were stalling that game out so long, I was like, I think that was a fluke. Like, I genuinely felt like it was a fluke and not the average to happen. So then, of course, you know how it goes. They won. And, I mean, they won the next two games. So I was like, yeah, I expected this to happen. And they didn't win them, I guess, in the most convincing fashion, but they won them nonetheless. And also, I just got one of the subs, and my Prime subs announces it says celebrate your 8th and 9-month anniversary. That's funny.
That's amazing.
But yeah, um, basically, it was just like, yeah, I don't think this is gonna last very long. Uh, I thought they were way better just from how it felt in the beginning stages of the game and how it felt as the game went on. I get PSG was starting to win fights and things were coming together for them, but it felt like FlyQuest as an overall unit was better, and PSG was just like winning through the kinda, I don't want to say luck, but kinda through luck and just some of the stuff they were trying was working.
I
And it
definitely
helped that Busio was sprinting it. So,
Busio was sprinting it, and Jensen in games 1 and 2 was
yeah.
it wasn't fully. I don't know if he just can't play the Talia. By the way, your Prime sub just came through. Thank you for the 9-month Prime sub. Uh, really, Busio flop is the message that you go with on there.
Yeah.
I felt so bad too because there were so many different points where I'm just sitting there like, okay, he can bounce back, and then he hooks a wall on a target right in front of him, or fail flashes over a wall, and I was like, oh man, those stage jitters are just that's rough. That's really rough. And you're on Nautilus too, of all champs. So like when it's
Yeah.
bad, it's like blatantly apparent that it's bad.
Yeah. I mean, it was really ugly. Luckily, I would say dude, what is his name? Am I stupid?
Who? Blippo,
His lane
Inspired,
partner.
Gen. Oh, Masu.
Masu. I don't know why I couldn't remember it. I was like, what is going on? But I kept thinking in my head Musa, And I was like, that sounds dumb. That's not his name. And I like could not put it together. But he didn't look terrible. Like
Did look terrible, dude. Masu looked amazing.
I well, there were some moments he looked amazing. There were also some moments where I was like, what is he doing? And I was really worried. But he overall did look pretty good. I thought like overall performance.
Yeah.
Like there were some things he did that were amazing and by all means he was forcing summoners on his own. Like on the Varus pick he was getting a lot of things. There were just a couple team fights that could have been better,
Yeah.
but that's going to be the case with everything. Um it was like one of those, okay, so if Busio can put it together, this team is fine. Like they'll be fine. But he does need to put it together, and it's gonna be very difficult because I don't know like what you do to help him. Obviously, they as a team need to get him to not go on social media. Like
Yeah.
that's step one.
Yep.
You need to probably lie to him about how it went. Like you honestly, you could lie at this point. It would probably be better than going through and saying like you don't need to flash into the wall and you need to hit these hooks.
I don't know if
Like I don't know.
you don't need to lie to him, but you can just be like, "Hey, we're gonna work on it. And we'll be fucking fine," and that's it.
Yeah,
And like, don't overthink it. Don't do anything. We're gonna fix this shit, and we're fine. You can't ignore it. You can't not acknowledge that it wasn't a problem, and he knows that.
yeah,
But you can work with him in a healthy way to overcome it, especially if it is nerves
true,
related.
true.
Whippo
Like
looked fucking incredible.
yeah, that'll be a problem though if that's true. Like in chat, just saying said that Inspire's not holding anything back. That he probably is. You have to be
Yeah, you have to at
in
least a
this
little
one.
bit.
Like you can't actually. And Inspired was having some pretty bad Sejuani Rs. Like all things considered,
They were
he
zoning
was
ours.
going. Yeah, he was zoning a lot. So it's neither of them were really playing a game that I was shocked by. Obviously, Inspired was not doing things that Busio was doing.
Yeah.
Busio was trolling on a higher level. But overall, it did feel like literally the games were just being held together by Whippo and Masu. Like, just like Whippo doing most of the work and Masu like picking things up as well.
And credit where it's due, Jensen had an incredible game three.
He
Like
did, he did. His
Jensen on
Oriana was
Oriana
beautiful.
is just disgusting. It really
He's
is.
very good at it.
But is it enough to beat T1? Who did go 2-0 today, but I will say T1 didn't look clean.
Yeah, I'm not convinced they beat T1. I know you have a bet for it right now,
I don't have
but
I don't, not that I would pick
I know you don't
otherwise
have a
anyways,
choice.
but I mean,
It's
I'd be
kind of one
picking
of
regardless.
those it's kind of one of those like, yeah, technically they have a chance, right? Like everybody has a chance technically,
Okay.
but I'm not gonna sit here and like lie to myself and other
I
people
no,
and say I think.
I think it's fair to say that Masu played better than Gumiusi today.
Mhm.
I think it's fair to say that Busio will probably not play this bad again, hopefully. If he does, then it's a guaranteed loss and there's nothing we could do about it. Like that's the underlying thing, but like under the assumption that he bounces back. You Blippo can neutralize or can neutralize Zeus, and in my opinion, it all comes down to Inspired. I think the series versus T1 is legitimately just on Inspired's back. If he can make plays and be as possessive of the map as he possibly can be, then I think we stand a chance. Unless Faker, becomes Chovy and fucking smashes Jensen's skull in, then maybe it's a problem. But I don't see that happening.
He can do it for sure. I mean,
I
he can 100% do it.
I don't think it comes down to. I think if any of the bot lanes run it, then yeah, it comes down to bot lane. But I think the tempo is going to be set by junglers. I think jungle ultimately will determine a lot in this series.
It definitely will. I think where it'll hurt for bot lane at least is how far behind they get. Like,
Who says they're going to get behind? Moss is playing well.
I think it's kind of just life at this point
Is it though?
that you would
Does it
like,
have to be?
yes, yes.
Why?
Your expectation should be they fall behind.
My expectation is they go even. I think
That's your hope.
what I saw no what I saw out of Masu today,
I like how you said Joseph.
I'm willing to say that Masu can go even with Gumayusi tomorrow,
Maybe,
or
maybe.
well, 2 days from now.
It's really just carry dude. Like he
Yeah, it's
is.
Carrier versus Busio. That's the only one that, but like I have, in order for them to
That's
win, I have to
carry.
go on the assumption that Busio steps up and plays to the
Yeah,
level.
yeah.
Like Busio, I'm just going to assume is playing to the level of his opponents. That's my assumption. So against the bad
Maybe.
teams, he's going to be bad. Against the good teams, he's going to be good. Yes, this is cope, dude. I got $100 riding on this. I'm going to be coping my fucking ass off the entire time.
Yeah, I mean the thing is like realistically, Fly and okay, so Fly doesn't have as good a bot lane. If we're being realistic right
Yes,
now,
fair.
taking out the hope of your bet, like we're gonna assume that doesn't go well. I think the best thing you can do if you're Fly with your bot lane is let them do whatever they think is weird at this point. Like I
Really?
honestly don't think set standard is gonna beat those two, and I also think like odds are Carrier has something drawn up to beat standard. He's always had something to beat standard.
Yeah.
And T1 trusts him enough to let him play weird. They let him get really weird. And if you let him get too in his level of comfort of just playing random stuff and running all over the map and having a good time and messing around, I think it just will get them annihilated. Like I think you have to try to get weird with them a little bit, which they already get weird in top lane. Like they
And
already get
Busio's
weird in
willing to
jungle
get
at
weird.
times. Yeah, he's willing to. I think it wouldn't be the worst. Although I do admit like that that is like not ideal, right? You would not want to have to do this. But I think against when you know they're a better team, it doesn't hurt to get weird.
Yeah.
Because that's what how who was it that um Russian team did it when they got out of groups and
Um,
they were like one of the first wildcard teams to do it.
Albus Nox Luna.
Yes. They had a guy, their support was playing Brand all the time and just going crazy on people. And it was like nobody at that time was spamming Brand,
Yeah.
but he was, and it worked.
Do you think Bwipo's going to be able to have a series like he did today against Zeus, or do you think Zeus is just too good of a player to allow that to happen?
I think he could, well, it won't be the same level.
No, I'm not expecting it to be the same gap as it was today. I'm just saying, like, in general, because like how we won today was Bwipo creating pressure in these fights.
I
It
think he can do that 100%
okay.
against Zeus.
As long as
I think he can.
as long as he can do that, then there's a chance. It's just a matter of then the carry stepping up and winning it.
Yeah.
Because
I also,
I was gonna say
what
we
were
can
you going to
comfortably give counterpick the top lane every time
say?
and be perfectly fine with it. And like you don't have to counterpick to like you must win lane or it's over. It's like no, Whippo can take a decent counterpick that sets him up for late game as well.
Yeah, I also think they're just not as well, I shouldn't say it that harshly, but I think they're a little smarter than Astral because they were like taking 6 grubs with no champions to get to tap a turret, and they were handshaking grubs over dragons, and I was like, okay, I guess you're just gonna like let T1 get to this incredibly quick timer on Dragon Soul for like no reason, and you're gonna get grubs, which is great if you could shove a lane that you can't shove. There's
Yeah,
no lanes you're shoving. So they just had 6 grubs for the dragons, and they had nothing to show for it, and they were down turrets. It's like I don't think Flyquest is that silly. I think they are smarter than that.
I agree. I don't know. I just have faith for whatever reason. I have faith that it can happen, and I had faith before this bet came in. To be clear, because if you think about it, last year did or did not Golden Guardians pull off a win against BLG?
Yeah.
Would you say that FlyQuest has a better ceiling now than Golden Guardians did last year?
Mm,
I think the answer is
don't
yes.
know.
I think it's pretty
Mm,
bluntly yes. Like Licorice was the strong point. I would put Blippo at like a similar level to Licorice. Inspired is 100% better than River internationally. and like at that scale. Well, actually, that's probably not a fair statement because River's got one hell of a history internationally.
I was gonna say,
Uh,
and River was playing like really well in that
not
series.
as of late, I guess. Like whenever it comes to like those moments, I don't think Rivers like lived up to the highs that Inspired has had. Maybe it's
Corey was
rose to
also
the
playing really good at that time.
yeah,
You can't let recency bias
fair. But I will
where he
say
was playing really good.
bot lane wise, it is nowhere near the whole like Masu. Masu was the question coming into the series, and now you walk out of it like, okay, we've got somebody that might be able to carry. There was never that faith in Stix A, at least on my part last year. Like I never thought that Stix A and who he were going to be able
If
to compete
Stixay
with.
could survive a
Yeah,
lane a little
but you
better, I think.
can't. I mean, well, the problem is we have such a small sample size. Also,
Yes, yes.
Kelby brought up a great point. Uh, Busio and Masu are the only two players in the world to be completely undefeated internationally.
What do you mean?
In a series, they've never lost a series internationally.
Oh, a series. Okay. I was
They
like,
have never they
whatever.
have never once lost a series internationally.
I was like, what? I was like, there's no way that's
They're the
what you.
only players in the history of LoL esports to have never lost a series.
They also started their international career losing to PSG. And
Okay.
you're trying to convince me that they can win 2 games against T1.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't have to be in a row, so that's good.
Yeah, you just
Just
gotta
has to
you
be
gotta
two
ramp up.
games.
You just gotta ramp up.
But like, I don't know. I think Huhi was playing so much better
Yeah.
than Busio that it's kind of tough to make that comparison. Also, BLG wasn't at that time on the level of T1. I had to change that from isn't to wasn't because the reason I'm saying this is because BLG then had some more clear weaknesses. Like you could abuse them through mid lane.
Yeah.
And Elk was a lot younger. And so was June. They didn't have a full season, a year under their belt. Uh Bane is still amazing. Like it was honestly really shocking that they won that game and BLG was really good. But T1 is also like one of the best team fighting teams in the world. And I mean they've gone on to prove that by winning worlds.
Yeah.
And so it's like I think they're a better team overall. I think BLG at that point had some things that you could trick them on and it would work. And Golden Guardians did that. They got them with 1 game. But I don't know if I think T or T1's at that level.
I think we can win it.
It's really just bot lane, dude.
I
Like
know. I know.
the bot lane is just. I mean, I don't know, man. It's really really tough,
I
tough
know.
down
I
there.
know. Anyways, I think we berated that point enough. Do you think there's going to be an upset in Group B at all? Or do you think it's just top and Fnatic
Um,
locked?
Upset in Group B. I think it's pretty much top and Fnatic locked. Maybe after Fnatic gets beat by TES,
They
they've
crumble.
been known at times to mentally have problems.
Yeah.
And I could see them falling apart and maybe louder Gam like comes out, hot. I mean, that is a thing you got to be careful of with the new format. You really do have to be careful. Like losers bracket teams can get hot.
Yep.
Like even though it's one series, you have one series where you get your confidence back and you have the other team coming in who just got crushed. Like it really changes things. It
Agreed.
super changes things. Like I mean, especially that's my biggest worry for Fly. Like, there's a real world where Fly could get rushed by T1 till and then lose the next series to PSG
Yeah.
just because of something silly. And like PSG's top laner just magically learns how to play way better and their support. Like, that's really tame.
They turn on their monitors and all of a sudden,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
night and day difference.
I mean, but for real, like their top laner could just play against the Astral, and then all of a sudden he just turns it on. like decides, oh, I feel way more confident now,
Yeah.
and goes into the next series and loses lanes slightly less hard, and those games get way harder for FlyQuest.
Yep.
Like that'd be all it'd take.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, it's. I mean, odds aren't. I don't really. I don't feel good about upsets right now after what I saw today, for sure.
I mean, not yet. I don't blame you.
I need to see what Loud can do. Like that's the problem with international tourneys, though. Like trying to actually call things or predict things outside of like the obvious of like T1 and Top are getting out, like is pretty hard because I don't know how Loud is gonna hold up against TES,
I don't
and
think
I
well.
have yeah, I don't think it's gonna go well. And then I have no idea how Gam does into Fnatic. It shouldn't go well
Yeah.
because their roster's pretty weird, but who knows, dude? Like, I don't know, something weird happens and they just hit a random hot streak and blah blah blah. Life goes on.
Okay, this is actually a good question. Who has the better chance at upsetting? Fnatic over Top or Flyquest over T1?
Probably FlyQuest.
I agree. I just want if chat had that opinion, so I just wanted to call it out.
Think I think that as much as you hate Jackie Love,
I love
and
Jackie
as
Love. He's one
much
of my
as
favorite ADCs to watch.
you torch his name
I do.
into the ground and you say that he is not that good
No, he's
and
good.
you say all these disparaging things, I think Top is a really good team. I think they can do it. Now, if there is anybody in the world who is cursed, it's Top Esports. So there's always a chance they can do something weird, especially when you mix like Jackie Love and Tian. Like, those are two people that, in my mind, I want to say they're LPL. There's no way they lose to Fnatic. But then in the back of my head, there's this little thing that keeps telling me they're like, they have two of the biggest chokes ever on international stage. And you've combined them onto one team. There's a good shot that they actually do choke again.
I know it won't happen, but what I would love for Gam to upset Fnatic, and then you just see a bunch of Vietnamese fans flying in
Mhm.
for Friday's game, and everybody's just holding up pictures of Maul Malmortius.
Actually, that would be kind of funny. Like that
And
would
everybody's
actually
just
be
harking
really
back to
funny.
2022 Worlds with the
Yeah,
upset where they knock him out. And it's like, oh man, that would be fucking
that would be pretty
hilarious.
good.
It won't happen, but it'd be hilarious. I would like
That'd be pretty
put
good.
it this way, if it was in North America and I saw that matchup live, I would oh dude, I'd be asking everybody, please make a sign like this. Please. Like
Yeah.
uh I don't know, just get like show like a picture of like 2022 and say triggered question mark.
Hmm. I mean, it would be hilarious if like Gam just decided to go on a power run. I think that would be really funny. I don't think it's gonna happen,
No, it
but if
won't.
it did, it would be really funny.
I don't think it will either, but I just think it'd be fun to watch.
Oh yeah. I mean, if Loud comes out and beats Top, I'm not gonna complain at all. I'm gonna
That
laugh
that
really,
will
really
not
hard.
happen. I'm
You know
sorry.
how funny that would be?
It'd be hilarious. It would be so funny to see Top choke again internationally.
Oh yeah,
So funny.
100%.
It won't happen
100%.
though.
It won't. It won't.
I had somebody try to come at me earlier in the TikTok comments, I think it was, uh, saying about how you gonna say in my or no, it was in my hype video. I said I think that no, it was somewhere else. I mentioned that the LPL underperformed at Worlds. And they're like, well, the LPL got all four teams out. And then, like, how are you going to say that they underperformed? I was like, the expectation is not for you to get all four teams out. The expectation is for you to win the tournament. And
Yeah.
three out of your four teams lost in the quarters, and one of them lost in the semis in a very
Yeah.
non-competitive series. So,
Yep.
like, no, you didn't have a team even make finals. You didn't even have a team sniff finals. Don't tell me you didn't underperform as the LPL at Worlds last year. That's a lie.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you could actually like try to get people to believe that. Like it'd be a joke to say like LPL they just had a tough road ahead of them. It's like, nah, man, we all saw it. We saw how it went down. Like you guys choked. You didn't do what you were supposed to do, and I don't know. I don't know what
Oh
else
no,
you would
sorry,
call
I flipped it entirely. It was the LCK. My bad. Or no, was it? It was the no, it was the LPL. Yeah. Wait, hang on. I'm mixing up my fucking arguments because I'm thinking of Worlds from 2022. Uh, Worlds from 2022 was where they had three teams out, only
it. Yeah, I
one
was about to
team.
say I had to go back because I had to remember, and I was
Yeah, no,
like,
I just misspoke
didn't
my world, all my
Weibo
words.
make finals?
Yeah,
Yeah, Weibo
Weibo made
was in
finals. It was
finals.
3 out of 4 teams because it was three LPL teams
Okay.
uh and T1. And T1 still took everybody down. So I would say it's a failure.
Yeah.
Still. You have three
Yeah.
out of four teams and you can't seal the deal. And none of your series as the LPL against T1 were even remotely close.
Yeah. I mean,
I'd say it's a failure.
I don't know if you can call it the LPL did a failure
The
compared
expectation for
to
them is to win.
last year.
Yeah,
You're talking about last year calling it a failure?
yeah, I'd say last year Worlds was a failure for them.
I mean, I don't know.
Not winning Worlds when they won MSI looked like the dominantly better region. But then
They got
every single time it came for them to show up in the moment, they couldn't.
yeah, but they had like what was it? All four out of groups, right?
They had all 4 out of groups, yes.
Yeah, and DK didn't even make it out. So didn't LPL, they were deeper.
Yeah. I'm not saying they're not
So
deeper, but I think the expect like here's my thing. Is
and they had a finals team in. Like
is 4 out of 4
and
teams for both of those regions getting out not the expectation, not like something to be praised?
yeah, that's probably the expectation, but I would say them having a finals team in and them knocking out Gen G makes it successful.
I mean,
Like
I'll give you the Gen G point.
not a
That I
failure.
think the Gen G point is very fair. But you got 3-0'd in finals and you got 3-1 in semis.
Oh, and they're saying that's the first time LPL's even done that. So there's that too. There's that too.
Yeah, because I guess one team always does spoil it, and historically it's been the
Yeah,
LC. But either way, like I don't know. Maybe it's just my NA brain saying this, but like
it is.
either the LPL or LCK getting 4 teams out or 3 teams to me isn't fucking impressive. That's the
Getting
expectation now. Is it like for Korea when they only have 3 teams out, it's a big failure.
Mm, I think it's still mild with the new format though. I think it's like trying to think. The new format, I feel like that is impressive because in the new format, it's easier for an NA or EU team to sort of luck in out of group stage,
Yeah,
right? Or whatever the
Damn
first
one got the
stage is.
shit end of the stick in terms of the draw.
Yeah,
Had they played literally
yeah,
any NA team or like any team other than just G2 in the first
yeah,
round, they would have 100% made it through, probably.
yeah. Like I don't know if any team ever made it out of groups back in the day, and did it. Well, it wasn't really that back in the day. It was 2 years ago, but I don't know if any team had ever made it out that was an NA or EU team that didn't beat an Eastern team. Like you had to have at least one win against an Eastern team,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
NRG did. They didn't have to.
No. I guess I will just say this, and I guess here's my underlying philosophy of it all. What is considered a failure for North America at Worlds?
I mean, for North America, failure.
Yeah. As a region, what is considered a failure?
No team getting out. I'd say
Why is the bar that low?
because we suck.
Because there's no expectation to win, correct?
Yeah,
Okay. What is the expectation for Europe at Worlds?
probably no team get out as well. That would be my thing.
Yeah.
Or like one team get out.
Yeah. And
That's the
success is a
expectation.
semis. If they can make semis, then that's like a good a good
Yeah,
tournament for them. What is a success at Worlds in any international tournament for the LCK?
I would say like LCK would be make finals.
I disagree.
You think it's
That's
winning?
I think it's win. I think for the LPL and the LCK, anything but winning it, regardless of how many teams make it out and how far they go, is a failure.
Well, the success and the failure can be different though.
Sure.
Like if we get one team out, I'm not like for NA, I'll call it great success, right? I'll be like,
Yeah,
that was wonderful. But for
but I
EU, they
think
might take
but I think the only
semis.
reason the expectation and the difference between expectation of success and expectation of failure would be there is because you don't have a chance of winning it. The moment you have a chance of winning it, it's immediately a yes or no question.
Yeah, I just think you can say like being knocked out at semis would be a failure for those regions.
I think
I
any
think making finals is still a
I
success.
don't think so.
It still means your region is good,
But
right?
I think there's an expectation to make finals.
Like you can't say LPL, a region that got 4 teams out, had a team in finals, had 3 teams in semis, is a failure.
I
Three
think if
teams in semis?
if they don't go home with a trophy, doesn't matter how many teams got out, doesn't matter how many teams went far. You did not walk home with the hardware. That is all that matters.
I mean, then we
For
would just disagree.
for the LCK and the LPL, that's the expectation. We're not at that level with them, which is why we're allowed to have different levels of success, not success, and we can
Yeah, yeah.
debate it. And there's a conversation for them. It is as simple as if you don't win, if one of your teams don't win this, your whole region has a problem.
I don't think their whole region would have a problem.
I think
I
they
think
do
they can
though.
expect to win. I think they can expect it, but I don't think winning finals is like where you would set that bar. I think not making it would be where you would really not making semis would be where they would start to raise alarms.
Yeah, but we're not talking about, your
Like, would you
random.
call? I would say last year's MSI was a bigger failure by LCK than last year's Worlds for LPL.
Let me ask you this. Bright, you're starting to get into golf now, right?
Yes,
Do you think
so
Bryson DeChambeau's happy with a second place?
no,
Okay. Why?
it's a single
Why?
team
Because
sport.
there's an
We're talking about a
expectation
win.
that he will win. For half the
Yeah,
for half of the field that is in it, when they come into the tournament, it's like, okay, if I can make the cut and get paid and then finish in the top 10 so I can come back next year, I've done my job. I'm not expecting to win. If I'm in contention on Sunday, great, cool. There are certain players, Rory McIlroy, Bryson DeChambeau, where you are expected to win. And anything but winning is a failure. Same thing with
I get that.
Tiger.
I'm a Carolina fan.
Okay. So
I'm a
Carolina,
Carolina
if you make it to
expectation.
finals of the NCAA tournament, is that a
Go
success?
Final Fours success. Yes, but that's a 68 team
It, yeah,
tournament.
that's too big of a different.
I
But
mean, I guess your thing could be the
okay, let me
Chiefs.
rephrase. Carolina as a 1 seed, okay, with an undefeated year, like they're all put it this way, Carolina, there's 4 teams that go undefeated in college basketball. Okay,
That's way different.
no, it's not. You go into
Yes, it
no, it's
is.
not. You go into the NCAA tournament. There are 4 teams that are undefeated, and every other team has like 7 to 8 losses. If one of those 4 teams does not win, like the expectation for you is to go in and win the fucking tournament. If
Mhm.
one of those 4 does not win, yeah, it's a failure for every single fucking one of them.
I think for LPL though, it's been long enough, and they haven't won enough worlds. I would say that winning worlds is the expectation.
Haven't won enough. Bro, they won 2018, 2019, and 21.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's been 2 years. Two
Yeah, so it's a
years.
failure. You haven't won a title
Yeah,
in 2
but
years when you
your
won 3 out of 4.
no, your expectations change very quickly.
I don't think
They're at the
not for
point where
those
it's
two.
changed.
No, because they won MSI.
Yeah, but
Had they not
we've
won MSI,
talked
I would
ad
entirely agree with you.
nauseum that MSI does not have the same ramifications for worlds.
It does because of the Golden Road.
No, it doesn't. We've talked this a
It winning the
bunch.
tournament itself does not mean much. I agree.
And
I
JDG could have
agree.
failed there. JDG failing does not represent all of LPL. If you have a team in finals, I
I think
don't think
LPL
JDG.
not no, simply put, LPL not winning Worlds is a failure.
Just don't find that true. Don't find that true. I don't agree.
World no, see, this is where I disagree. Worlds is an easier tournament than MSI is by a wide margin
What?
because you can luck into a better road. You already said that. Therefore, it is default easier. There are paths that can be harder, but that doesn't mean
Single
it
elam.
is harder. What?
It's single elam though too. That's pretty
Yeah.
difficult.
So you don't have to beat somebody twice, which is
Yeah,
great.
that is nice.
You don't have that losers bracket run, which clearly fucking works for almost everybody.
I could probably be swayed just because of how much I hate the way we do double elam. I think the way Riot has gone about double elam is so bad, but Worlds is still, I don't think Worlds easy to win. You have to be
No, I'm
on a
not.
pretty
I'm
insane
not
team.
saying either of them are easy to win, at all.
Mm-hmm. I just don't
It's
think,
tough.
but maybe we need an LPL fan, like a legitimate LPL
Yeah.
super fan, like to tell us what they would think. Because I mean, you'd also have to be a fully regional fan. Like, I don't know at LPL and LCK, I would be shocked if everybody there cheers for the region.
LPL does.
Like,
100%.
I would be
Did you see their
shocked
hype
that there's
video?
not just team fans.
Did you see their hype video?
No.
They are hard pushing. It's China over everything. Like they
That would
had
be,
all their
yeah, maybe
teams
they do.
together. Like everybody was together, hyping it up. Like these are our guys. They for
Maybe,
years they have sent all teams to Worlds with the same Nike jackets. Like they are one family. Like regardless of whether it's like a technicality thing of like everybody has to kind of get the same jacket and you can't really customize it. Like they they are a unit. It is China over
mhm.
everything.
Now I'd just be surprised that, like, it's probably because I'm an old head with college sports, but like I could never sit there and watch like an ACC team, you know, make a run and
Yeah,
win it all and be like, oh man, that felt almost the same as Carolina. Like, it
but
just
it's
doesn't.
different because like you're not going in and there's not like this because various different teams from your and actually I think you bring up a good point. Because various different teams from your conference can go on to win, you don't feel the need to cheer against or to cheer for everybody else from your conference. Nobody's
Yeah,
making a Cinderella run from the ACC or the SEC or the Big 10. Like realistically, if you're part of any of those conferences within 3 years, you can have a recruiting class that could possibly get you there. But if you
yeah,
think that everybody from the Mac 12 is not like joining together to be like,
yeah,
that's our boy, that's our one. We get one
yeah.
team in this tournament a year. They're making a run. It looks good for all of us. Like it is the
Mhm.
difference in expectations for your conference, or in this case, for your region.
Yeah.
And we are also
Because even I,
designed that way.
I am like too traditional sports based to sit here and lie to people and tell them like I would be as happy for TL or Fly winning a regional event as NRG, like, or an
Oh,
international
same.
event. My bad. Like, if they won an international event, I'd be like, yeah, that's great. That's great. It was done. But I'd also be like, dang, I kind of wish like NRG was the first.
I I mean, I look at it differently. I see it from the lens of if one team can do it, that gives me the hope that we can do it as well. And I just need somebody to give us that glimpse of hope that we can make, not to win it all, obviously. I'm not delusional in that sense, but at least like that we can make a run. Give us hope that somebody can do that. Because then I can sit here like I did after 2018 and be like, if Team Liquid can do it, or Cloud9 can make it the
Yeah,
semis, like 100
Yeah.
Thieves can get a squad that does this. We can do this. So like I want them to go far and do it. If say Team Liquid was to go on and win MSI for some reason, would I then want Team Liquid to win it again? No, because then expectations change. Then expectations are anybody can do it. It's like, well, okay, well, I want 100 Thieves to do it. But if it's us versus Europe, we're also designed in a system where it's like, I will take fucking anybody from North America over Europe and over China and over Korea.
Hmm.
Every single one of those assholes has already gotten enough in their time of as
Yeah,
being a LoL esports fan. They don't need any more.
that's true. That's true. I am. I'm just shocked that they can. I mean, it makes sense, right? Because it's so regional based, and I would not be surprised that China and Korea are semi-nationalist enough to hard cheer for their own teams. But
Look at
also, it's like,
fucking World's final stadium or World's
no, yeah, yeah,
arena whenever Korea's not playing.
no, yeah.
That's everything you need to know.
I just mean like I'm shocked that like for the amount of winning both of them have done, that the subset fans of teams like are they're still able to push them to cheer for the other teams. Because I feel like at this point I'd be like, we've won enough. Like, you know what? Honestly, I don't want to see you win BLG if I'm a JDG fan. I'd be like, I hope it sucks and I hope you lose in the worst way possible. I'd chuckle every time they lose. But I guess it's just different because like
The system
League is
set
so
up that
pride
way.
based. I
Yeah.
mean, also to go back to a point, because somebody said would Fly beating T1 be the biggest NA upset like ever?
Yes.
No. No. TL beat IG
We've
to go to
never
a finals.
we have never beat Korea in a best of 5 or a best of series ever.
Yeah, but IG was coming off
Well,
of a
I get it.
world win.
They were and they were yeah, because
And what do you
I was
mean
about to
we've
use
never
the
beat
point of T.
Korea in a best of 5
Oh
ever?
yeah, we did. We beat Afrika. I'm dumb.
Yeah.
Never mind. Yeah,
Okay.
no, never mind. There's
I
no
was
chance.
like,
There's no chance that TL or there's no chance that TL would not be the favorites
goodness,
there.
goodness.
Sorry.
Dude, we're
My
just
bad.
getting
My bad.
misinformation.
My bad. Jesus Christ.
Grave. You're over here. You're just trying to trigger me today. I don't know
I
what
am.
it
I am. It's great.
is.
I'm having fun with this. And also, I think best of 3 takes away from a best of 5 upset. Best of 5 upset is so fucking hard.
Yeah. Like, the only reason people would say that Fly beating T1 is the biggest upset NA has ever had is one, because everyone wants to say they were there. So they're going to say it because it's the most recent thing that's happened. But also, two, because so many people suck off T1 and are all over them and globbing all of it up. So
Yep.
like they're gonna be like, "Oh, I can't believe this happened. This should have never happened. This is the craziest thing that's ever happened." It's like I get it, dude, but at the same time, some great, some great upsets have happened.
Yeah. And we're
Like
due. I feel like we're due for one. When was the last time we had like a
I-
big upset over a Eastern team, like any region over an Eastern team in a best of series?
we've had what
When was the last time that we had a Eastern team get upset?
in a best of 5?
Best of anything.
Been a minute.
It was probably
Has it been that long?
yeah.
G2 Gen
It was
G
probably
20.
G2 T1.
And were those even upsets at the time? Because G2 was. Weren't they on like an
Oh yeah, no,
Exodia run?
G2 Gen G 2020 was probably it. But even then,
That would
I
be the
don't know.
one. Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be the
that would
one.
probably be it. Because I
That would
think
be it.
2019, I don't feel right counting because like there was a lot of
It's
hype and
Exodia.
momentum going for
Oh,
G2.
G2 was the favorite in that series. Okay. That's what they're saying. Like that
First
would
best
yeah.
of 5 against SKT. Yeah.
That might be it because like the Exodia run is hard to count. That's a weird one because
Yeah.
it's like I don't know if you would call that an upset or not. Like that team,
No.
honestly, that was back, and that is how, I argued this earlier. Changes happen in expectations. Back then, it was a failure for the EU not to win Worlds. You know, it actually was. Like when they didn't win Worlds, it was a failure.
Oh, that.
But
Oh,
things change. I mean, dude, people cried. I remember the broadcast was crazy, bro. People were crying all over the place when
oh,
G2 won. MSI,
yeah.
like that was crazy. And you know, if TL won, they'd be doing the same thing. They would have been bawling their eyes out.
Oh, I'll probably be. I cried whenever NRG beat G2. I'll probably
Uh,
cry. I'll probably cry here, dude. It was. You gotta think about how long it's been since we like
I know
rightfully
it's been
got
a
out
while,
of a group.
and you're the face of NA Hopium, so
Yeah,
you're. It makes sense you would cry for that.
yeah.
I wasn't a fan at that time, and in my head, they were still CLG soy boys, so
I just.
it is what it is now. Now I'm,
Now you've made your peace.
yeah, now I'm happy to be a fan of a team that lost a bunch.
Oh
Really
man.
worked out for me. But
Speaking of regions, is there anything else you want to talk about MSI related before I shift us on to a fairly serious point? Well, not serious, but like a conversation we gotta have.
um, from a side, I think we've covered it all. I mean, really, what we said was true. Like we've already said enough about Fly and what plagues them, and it is fairly obvious.
Did you want to say your low budget LCS point around that?
No, no, that's just for us.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
I can say it now. You brought it up. I was just joking, but it is true and all the same. Like, yeah, they. It really does feel like we're just watching our LBLCS team. We're like, yeah, the mid laner does good some games, and some games he doesn't. The bottom lanes get absolutely fisted. That's good. And the top and the jungler are trying to hold on. I was like, dang, it really is just us with the boys again.
So familiar.
Yeah.
All right.
Man, this does just sound like another day in the office.
Yep. Nothing's changed. It's the nameplate on the door.
Yep.
Oh man. Okay, so the thing I wanted to talk to you about. Uh did you see my thread about the LLA?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are we at the point where this needs to happen? I know we've talked about wanting it to happen in the past of how like Brazil could come over to the LCS
Yeah.
and LLA could come in. You have teams dropping out of leagues. Like not even just like, oh, I'm selling my spot. Like, nah, like we can't afford it. We're quitting.
Yep.
What
And
would
they're
you
down to 6 teams.
Yeah. What would you do about the LLA? Like if you're in charge at Riot right now,
Yeah.
what would be your plan?
I mean, right now, CB LOL is probably your biggest product when you combine the two continents, like in South America. So realistically, you have to be really careful here in the merging of all these regions because LLA, I think you would want to push towards LCS. It's closer. It would just be easier for a move, and it would not be too difficult to put all the players in LA the way it already is structured. Even though terrible in LA and a lot of
Yeah.
America can't get there, that's a whole nother argument. But your idea that you had on putting a bigger focus on money into in-person viewing events and then putting like all the players over there in LA isn't, I think, a terrible idea. I think that's probably the best shot you're gonna have. And then you would have to go over there one weekend.
Yeah.
Probably at least a year. It'd be good for you to do it two splits. Give them two regular season weekends, like on one in winter and one in summer, maybe. That would probably be the fairest way to do it for them. The merger of CB LOL, I think that's a whole nother thing that's gonna take time to learn, because that one's gonna change the whole game. Like
Yeah.
CB
That
LOL
changes
honestly
everything.
has all the bargaining power, like over the other two. Like they just own it. Sadly, they have better in person. Like from what it looks like, events. They have a co-streamer who's just absolutely owning that space and getting it there. And LCS is not like, I would say it's not really the most appetizing product right now from a business standpoint. Like it just
Yeah.
isn't if you're being realistic. So I think merging LLA into LCS isn't a bad idea, but I don't know how you would do the CBLOL LCS merger after that, and I think it wouldn't be a bad. I think it would be really good actually for what you said to put LLA in there just as quickly as you can next year. Like get it in there before next winter split because you should do. Honestly, it would be great to have 1 year of LLA and LCS together, seeing how it goes, and you could just call it like the LLCS.
No, just call it. I think you just
I
call it
was
L.
joking. I was
Yeah.
joking. That was a really crappy name. I just wanted to throw out, but they could do that merger and try it out, see how it goes, see how if that helps viewership, and then you can start with the getting Brazil involved stuff. Because time zones are, I don't know how it changes time zones and everything too.
It's similar to like their latitude, longitude. They're within like our East
Yeah,
Coast,
they're
West Coast
within
parameters, so it's not
good
going to
enough.
change that all that much.
Good
Although
deal.
our winter split would be their summer split,
Oh, okay.
just because
Alrighty.
they're on the other side of the hemisphere.
Yeah. All right. Well, as long as if times aren't too bad, then like that sounds like best option you could do.
I saw somebody give the counter argument of like, well, shouldn't the LLA just be their own region, and then they come in and have a playoff team slot into the LCS, similar to what like PCS and everybody else does.
Interesting.
I don't mind that, but here's my thing, and this is my ultimate thought behind all of this. I don't think that's a financially sustainable answer. I don't think the LLA is a standalone product. Like basically what you're going to do is you're just going to keep bleeding money, bleeding fandom and bleeding everything else. Even though you're sending one team over, great. They're probably not going to make it to Worlds. Like the truth is you'll eliminate like a world spot. You'll eliminate everything else there and they'll rejigger the format further.
Mm-hmm.
But like apparently they only have 4 teams in the region that have the bankroll to be able to really afford players and like do anything there anyways. So at this point, Riot wants to consolidate. It's in the best interest of everybody in the world to consolidate more.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you not? And I think there's a hard reality that a lot of people need to come to terms with in LoL esports because it's the first time that a lot of people are adults. It's the first time that they've had to deal with an economy like this, with business like this, where you are just trying to survive. And you see this a lot in Fortune 500 where like look at public accounting firms. There's a billion places that you can go to do your taxes, to have your books audited, everything like that. But people typically pick the big 3.
Mm-hmm.
PwC, Ernst and Young, and why am I forgetting it? EY, PwC, KPMG is sitting just outside of it. Why the fuck am I'm forgetting the other one of the big 4. But either way, you have a bunch of other smaller and mid-sized firms. And what happens is, in order for them to move up in power, in order for them to become more than just like your small town firm, they group together. They consolidate. They lump clients, which then attracts bigger clients to potentially come with them. You got to understand that sometimes it's just best for business to merge. Even if it sucks. Like I get you have your own cultural identity for the LLA. And when the inevitable merger comes for CBLOL and LCS, I get it. We both have our own culture.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to accept that a merger is probably going to happen. Because the truth is, there are too many teams, there's too much going on in this ecosystem, and the interest is not there. So your best way forward is to consolidate. And the truth of the matter for CBLOL is that I think you're going to run into the same issues that the LCS did long term. They're growing now, But what happens when you like? Are you really going to be okay with never getting international results ever? Like, not even making it out of play-ins, not even being like, as of right now, they've never even been fucking competitive in play-ins.
Yeah.
How long is that going to be acceptable for people before they want more? And they see an option to get more as potentially merging with the LCS. For fans, I get you're giving up cultural identity, but like you gotta like if you want to compete with the big dogs and you want this to be a compelling, entertaining product, you have to do something. And when both of us are just sitting here from the outside looking in, being like, what the fuck can we do to get to Korea and China's level? At some point, combining our resources is gonna be best. Even if that
Yeah.
means that between the 26 teams that we have, or not 26, the 24 teams that we have across both regions, that it shrinks down to 12.
Yeah. And I mean, there's just, to be blunt, not a lot of options other than that. The money is gone. The teams are fighting for their lives right now,
Yeah.
essentially. Like, I would guess that when C9 said we want to have a budgetary year and then decided not to when they had the option for JoJo, that it wasn't actually that outside of their budget and that other teams just weren't willing to spend up to what they were.
I mean, it was reportedly like 800K, 8 to 900K for his salary.
Yeah, so that 800, 900 per year. And that's and other teams were willing to spend that much? Probably
No,
not nobody,
no.
because it didn't sound like he talked to anybody.
He
So
talked to
yeah,
Golden
they're
Guardians had to drop out, and then there was one other like international team that was apparently interested. But yeah,
oh, okay.
he Jojo. This wasn't confirmed because obviously I don't know salary numbers, but somebody within the scene said that Jojo Pune's salary alone is more than the salary of the bottom three uh, paying teams combined,
Yeah. So it's
or
like the
close
money
to it.
is just not fully here right now, and it just doesn't make sense to not combine, especially when you think of how that will help with viewership problems, which I get is a short-term fix, and it puts a lot of pressure on the leagues, or at least, well, if they're combined, there aren't leagues. The league to figure out how to do more in-person slash building events. Like you're gonna have to build just outside of, or not just online. You're gonna have to build in person too,
Yeah,
and they're gonna have to put real effort into it. Now I don't know if I really trust they have the ability to do that. That's another question. It seems like they are all still obsessed with online viewership, which I don't blame them because it's probably the best way for them to pay the bills.
for now.
Like yeah, that's the best way for them to show it. But it clearly is not like the system is not working. Not a lot of people are watching. I think maybe they'll have to go back to like weekend tourneys or something, or majors. Like
I mean that
doesn't
then
like chat said it too, and it doesn't have to be, I guess, full third party, but the current split idea hasn't seemed to function well in gaming
I guess
currently.
I agree. The question becomes like, what's the goal here?
True, that's true too.
Is the goal for everybody to be break even and just make enough to be comfortable in life?
Yeah.
If so, then technically you can keep the LCS as is. But I don't think that's why you downsize. I think you're downsizing because there's an expectation for it to get bigger.
Hmm.
And you're turtling for now so that you can eventually try and expand again. That's like everything comes in ebbs and flows. Like sometimes you have to back like it's momentum. When things are going against you, you have to back up to then build some momentum to make a push again.
Yeah.
We are in a state where we are turtling. We are trying to lock down resources and I think just be sustainable as is. But the question for Riot then becomes, and I know Travis is probably going to do the interview with John Needham and that's fine. I wish I could get the chance to talk to him on camera and just be like, what is our goal here? Like specific, give me like, are we trying to fill out stadiums on a weekly basis? Is that like the end goal that we're like, you don't have to say we're trying to be sports. We don't have to be sports to fill out stadiums every week. But is that the goal?
Mhm.
Because if so, then we got a lot of growing to do. And we need to set ourselves up to be that way. Is the goal just to maintain this level? Or is Riot happy with where this is at right now? And that's all you want out of it? Because if so, then hey, I'm going to stop asking for shit. Because you made it clear that's where you want to be, that's where it is, and you just don't think it could be anything bigger. Nobody has the ambition internally to go there. That's fine. But somebody's got to give me an answer that I can latch onto. Because as of right now, I don't know whether they have that ambition to go there or not. I know like the events themselves are great and like they're trying to make like obviously they're trying to grow international, but like what about domestic? Are you just
Yeah.
fine with domestic being where it's at? Because I'm not. I have dreams of fucking turning my room into like a mini Madison Square Garden and the dreams of one day having front row seats consistently to my team playing there in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
Is
That's
that
pretty big true.
are we on the same page or not? Because we can't like I guess that's the biggest problem that the community probably has right now is the lack of transparency there. Because we don't know what to expect. People are scared of turtling. People are scared of combining these things and like taking these away because they think it's just going to go away and that there's no plans to like grow it in the future. Like that's not saying that they're going to get their own lead back at some point, but at least to develop a further presence in Brazil, to develop a further presence in Mexico. Like the reason why they're scared to lose these is because they don't think they're ever going to get anything back.
Which history would tell you to be scared.
Exactly.
It would tell you to be scared. I mean, it's definitely as jokingly as people will say, and they hate hearing us talk about it. But we've been pointing it out for so long that Roadshows leaving was never a good sign, and that going to in studio stuff was bad for the business. And it's so far been true. I mean, the plan, it seems like, is to turtle and pray that co-streamers somehow carry the load through and everything just magically gets better at the end of it. Because right now, like, and this should scare people more than it should make people like so excited for what co-streaming has done. Right now, the leagues are almost completely dependent upon like one guy.
Yep.
Almost, some of these leagues are like there's a like LEC's probably one of the ones that like actually isn't and has used co-streaming has been used there to do great things, like insane things to be honest. Like they've they have like what, three guys who can hit 100K depending on their team
Yep.
in Cadril, uh Komet and
Kameto and Bylon
Bai.
or and Abai, yeah.
Yeah, Bai, they all can hit 100K for their own team. G2 doesn't have anybody representing them, which might actually be a good thing. At some points, I was like, I wish they had a guy who tore it up. And then I was like, no, they're keeping the mainstream alive, which
Yep.
actually is important and is probably good that they're doing that.
Agreed.
Like, unironically. And for LCS, you look at it and you're like, dude, right now, the two biggest co streamers for us is Cadril, a guy who may or may not co stream LCS, and the CB Lowell guy. And it's like that can't really function.
No. We have
It
no
can't be a future.
we have no North American personality that is up there.
No, it's really just double it, Dom, and Sneaky Medios, but they're all like, dying just the same way that
Yeah,
LCS
their
is
numbers have
anyways.
been dwindling as
Yeah.
about the same. Yeah. Well, Dom has been steady. Dom and the Sack are doing well, but like double of sneaky Medios, yeah, like their numbers haven't popped in
And
years.
Dom's also been like basically moved, I would say, to full LPL LEC.
Yeah.
Like, not that he doesn't watch a lot of games anyways, but It's like it's obvious
Yeah, he's not the
he's
LCS guy.
diversified himself. Yeah, he's diversified himself for the fall,
We need a
which is
Tarek.
smart.
Yeah. I mean, we do, but the thing is, like, you need a personality to do that. And
Yeah,
I
and
don't
you don't fully want to. You don't. I can't stress it enough. You do not want to be stuck to that though.
no,
You
you don't.
really do want there to be a core base. Like I said this earlier, and I'm gonna bring this back up, and it's gonna hurt me for points I made earlier in the podcast. But the fact that LPL and LCK have so many people who care just about their region winning is kind of like an impressive good thing. And it's good that those people watch LCK in general, like die hard. They probably have their favorite team who they actually watch, and then they may catch regular season games of other teams. But if those people are watching the normal broadcast and not just watching their favorite co-streamer, that's probably better for your league than spam watching a co-streamer, which I don't want to say like co-streaming is like a terrible thing. It has its good spots, but the NBA, the NFL, like the what NHL, MLB, none of those are like stuck on their co-streamers, you know?
No.
They have an
And they would
actual
never.
broadcast they've built that's watchable.
They would never in a
Well,
million years.
NFL's moving to the Manning cast, but
No,
I
but
wouldn't
even
really
then,
call
it's
that a
still no.
co-streaming
It's not
network.
even the same because it's like it is a bundled deal with their main media rights thing. So it's like,
Yeah, with their main broadcast.
yeah. So it's like, and for any of these, like the NFL knows their biggest dollar value is the media rights.
Yeah,
And if anything were to ever touch that, it'd be a problem.
yeah.
It'd be a massive problem. So,
And a good thing for ESPN, they have the Manning cast up, which gets a ton of viewers and gets them more ad money because people who would never watch on ESPN2 are watching on ESPN2,
yep,
and they still didn't have a drop off on ESPN, the
yep,
main channel where they were getting it. So all they did was add people to their Monday night broadcast, which is what you want to do. You want co-streaming to just be an addition to your main broadcast that is already destroying it. But that's not what's happened in League of Legends for LCS at
no.
least.
We've got such a long way to go.
Yeah, and I mean CB Lul's also kind of held up in the same way.
Yeah, it has.
Much to how much I was praising him, like honestly, I think it is kind of silly that they count co-streaming numbers in broadcasts unless they're like actually getting and giving the same sponsorship money to the leagues. Then I don't get it because you can never sell them really without paying for them as a whole broadcast, anyways.
I mean, you can sell them. That's what Activision Blizzard, or well, Microsoft did with Call of Duty. They used the two co-streamers in Scump and Zuma as part of their package deal. That was part of the numbers they promised.
Oh, and they could use their own ads on there. That helped the league.
Yes and no. You can still use your own, but you are still required to show all like the league advertisers and everything
No,
else.
that's what I meant. Like
Yeah.
the league advertisers could show on the co-streams. They
Yes.
made them show theirs.
Yes.
That's what matters. The league has to get their money because the like that is another thing I didn't even say with the Manning cast. Like the Manning cast, the ads are going to the network. They're not going just straight to the Manning brothers. They get paid by the network.
I'm I'm not commenting. We'll
Yeah,
talk about it off stream.
but it helps them because Omaha Productions, whatever, all that jazz, relationships. But there's in League of Legends, I don't think we have probably the expendable fan base to be uh having everybody go to different channels. And we also
Agree.
probably don't have the organization to make that monetarily sound for everybody. I just don't think it's there.
Not yet.
Maybe I'm wrong though, but I don't think the organizational skill is there.
Definitely not yet. Anything else you want to chat about before I end this and play more solo queue? You're welcome to join if you want.
No, I have nothing left.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for us. I will cut this up and have it available on Spotify, YouTube, and then the full VOD, including gameplay before and after the show will be available on Twitch. If you haven't already done so, be sure to subscribe on YouTube. If you're on Twitch, be sure to drop a follow. And I'm going to start playing video games now because that sounds like fun to me.
Yep, it was a pleasure.
Do you want to play
Go
or
energy.
no?
Screw an A. Okay.
Screw an A?
That was a joke. That was a joke.